there's a lot of fakery going around on the internet. And I want to show you some of that first, because as you look through social media, you're going to be seeing videos coming out from this war in Cambodia and Thailand. Wow, that looks like quite a strike there. Yeah, and here's another one. You can literally see the bombs falling away from the airplanes and impacting on the side of the hill. What I want to point out is that both of these videos are AI generated. They're not real. And they look very realistic, but there are some cues that help me understand that they're not real. For example, planes typically don't drop bombs that way anymore. They fire missiles, but so this explosion is ridiculous. That is very unlikely explosion there. So just buyer beware is what I'm saying. It's important to understand that there are entities out there that are trying to shape your opinion about anything that's going on in the world today. And you need to be on guard against that. One of the ways you can do that is by coming and watching this podcast, and I will walk you through it and help you understand what's fake and what's not.
Look, I work out hard because life is hard. And in my line of work, I might have to drag somebody's carcass off the battlefield with zero warning. And for the rest of us, the mission's just the same. We're all getting older. And after 60, your full-time job should be staving off decrepitude. So that's why I care about performance, not gym selfies, but real output. One lever that I've found that actually moves the needle on this is nitric oxide. Your body makes it to tell your blood vessels to open up and get oxygen and nutrients to your muscles and your brain when you need them. The problem is those levels drop fast with age. Some estimates say up to 85% by your 60s. That means that you press the gas, but the engine doesn't answer. So I swear by nitric oxide supplements in my workouts. If you want that edge without sugar or caffeine, go look at Blood Flow 7 from Juvenon. What's under their hood? S7 botanical complexes and nitrosogene, which ramps up your nitric oxide production, transresveratrol to support healthy blood flow, and bioperine, so your body actually absorbs the stuff instead of wasting it. Receipts matter. One study showed S7 alone boosted nitric oxide by 230% in 3 hours. Another showed transresveratrol helped open arteries by up to 62%. So just take 2 small capsules, no caffeine, no sugar, just performance support. If your routine's built for real life, not comfort, give Blood Flow 7 a look. Bloodflow7.com/hot, over 5,000 5-star reviews and a 60-day risk-free guarantee. Go to bloodflow7.com/hot and train for the world as it is.
Those 2 videos were fake. Now let's look at some real videos of the conflict and what's going on here. Now, I'm going to turn the sound down a little bit on this, but these are some tanks heading toward the border. I believe this is the Thai side. It's in Thailand. Obviously when they start bringing tanks into the mix, things are getting pretty serious. You've also got troops here who are moving into place and taking over villages now inside of Cambodia. This is a Thai APC running over the welcome sign for a Cambodian village as they enter the village here. Now, the Minister of Defense for Thailand said, he put out a statement and said, Cambodia launched a military attack after the Ministry of Foreign Affairs presented clear evidence of Cambodia's violations of the use of anti-personnel landmines. Cambodia took advantage of Thailand's crisis situation caused by severe flooding in the south and used heavy weaponry to attack Thai forces in a manner that endangered the lives of military personnel, civilians, and Thailand's sovereignty. Cambodia's actions clearly demonstrate a lack of sincerity in jointly maintaining peace. Therefore, Thailand is compelled to fully exercise its right of self-defense under international law, let's turn the music off on that, to protect Thai territory and the lives of Thai soldiers and Thai citizens. The deputy prime minister was even more aggressive. He said, no more negotiations. If Cambodia wants the fighting to stop, it will need to comply with our demands. This is as much a message to Donald Trump as it is to Cambodia, because Donald Trump brokered the first sort of cessation of hostilities back in the end of July. Now President Trump is saying that he'll take care of this. That's no big deal. He'll call them and they'll stop fighting. Well, the deputy prime minister of Thailand is saying, no, we're not going to stop fighting. We're done negotiating. The foreign minister of Thailand also said, we don't think tariffs should be used to pressure Thailand to get back to joint declaration. That's the peace declaration, to get back to a dialogue process. We're not ready for dialogue with Cambodia or to accept any third-party mediation. They're basically telling President Trump to get lost. You can see here more combat footage as they're shooting each other across the line of contact there. For their part, Cambodia's former prime minister and Senate president came out and said, Cambodia wants peace, but Cambodia is forced to fight back to defend its territory. We'll talk more about that in a minute. The culture minister said, they called it a reprehensible act reflecting profound immorality. That's a very communist way to phrase something. Another spokesperson said Cambodia has strictly respected the ceasefire and exercised utmost restraint amid the Thai violations. The ambassador, H.E. Dara, said Cambodia welcomes calls to uphold the ceasefire, but peace requires action beyond words. And the general government said immediately cease all hostilities, withdraw its forces to, they're calling on Thailand to withdraw its forces to its side of the border and refrain from any further show of courage, whatever that means. So you can see here, there's quite a bit of combat footage that's floating around out on the internet. Let's talk a little bit about the history of what's going on. Now, when it comes to talking about the history of this conflict, I'm going to make this smaller. This, of course, Thailand and Cambodia have been fighting over this territory since long before it was even called Thailand, back when it was called Siam. And so the border dispute is ongoing for a long time, centuries. Back after World War II, the French drew border lines between Cambodia and Thailand, and they're kind of responsible for what we're seeing right now. France drew lines on a map to demarcate the border between Cambodia and Thailand without much knowledge or understanding or even care about the people who live there, and not a lot of input from those people either. Now, the area that they're fighting over is a very sparsely populated area, but there are still over 100,000 people who have been displaced by the fighting. They're getting text messages from their respective governments telling them that they better evacuate because the area they're in is now a military front. The front line along the border is more than 100 miles. It's about 200 kilometers long. So this picture is an image of the area that they're fighting over. This is near a temple that's called the Priya Ver Temple, and I'm sure I didn't say that right, but it's an ancient temple that's been, sitting on this cliff top for centuries, and it's been the subject of sort of nationalistic fervor on both sides of the border for many years. Now, this just to show you where the fighting is taking place. it's basically all along the border between Cambodia and Thailand, all down here in the south. Now, there are incidents that have taken place, as far as I can see, over here in a place called Bone Tracoon, which is a village on the border, on the Cambodian side of the border. And then this place called Osmach. Man, they really know how to name things over there. Osmach is, looks like a little bit bigger town, village, something like that. And we're learning something from this conflict that I didn't understand before. I didn't know before. I'm actually planning a trip to Thailand to visit a scam center that was taken over right along the border. It's actually on the Burma side, inside Myanmar. But this thing was taken over by Karen forces in the area from the militias and the Burma army that was controlling it before. And so they took over this scam center. And I'm going to be doing a whole video about it. And they actually liberated hundreds of people who were being essentially held as slaves in there. And that was up on the Thai border up here with Myanmar, way up here, okay, on the northern border. So that's a story that I've been following for some time. And I knew that there were scam centers run by China inside Myanmar, inside Burma. But what I didn't know until recently is there are also scam centers inside Cambodia up here along this border, because again, this is very sparsely populated area. Actually, if you go to a satellite map, you can see that there's not a lot of villages or anything, even roads on the Thai side. There's just not much at all out there. There are people that live in those areas, but it's very sparsely populated. So now, what do I mean by scam centers? Well, the Chinese typically are the ones who run these things. What they do is they build a facility, they put a fat pipe into it with very good internet, and then they start recruiting people. Recruiting is the best way I can phrase that, the nicest way I can phrase it. Sometimes kidnapping them, sometimes coercing them, sometimes blackmailing them, and sometimes just plain old scamming people into coming to these places. And what they'll do is they'll meet them in Thailand and they'll say that, you know, I'm a job recruiter, I'm a headhunter, I've got a great office job for you. If you're interested, then, you know, come with me. And they say, yeah. So they get in their car and they drive for hours and hours. And the next thing they know, they're being carried across the border into Burma. Their passports are taken away. They're locked up in a compound and they are forced to make phone calls and scam people out of money. And there's lots of other types of scams that they do, investment scams, crypto scams, you name it. And they are given quotas, like you have to scam people out of so much money every day. And if you don't get fed today, or you get to sleep in solitary confinement in a cell, or you get beaten, or things like that. And so these scam centers are a scourge on the globe. There's no other way to put it. The reason I bring that up is because since this conflict flared back up 2 days ago, we've seen a bunch of Thai troops striking scam centers in Cambodia. I didn't know there were scam centers in Cambodia. I'm not surprised, but apparently there are. And there are people that are fleeing those scam centers because they're being bombed by Thailand. Now, the scam center in and of itself wouldn't represent a military target, if you ask me. However, maybe Thailand is taking a page out of President Trump's playbook and saying what these people are doing is damaging, it's hurtful, it's immoral, it's unjust, it's criminal, and so we're going to take them out. I don't know. It could just be that they're accidentally striking these things. We haven't heard anything from the Thai government about why they're doing this or not. Now, at the beginning of this conflict, this time, 2 days ago, Cambodia at first said, we didn't do anything. The Thai just started shooting at us and we don't know what's going on. And we're not even retaliating. Well, then videos came out of Cambodia shooting rockets, Grad rockets at Thailand. And Thailand, for its part, says the reason that they kicked this one off 2 days ago is that the Cambodians have been laying anti-personnel landmines all up along the border, and one of their Thai soldiers was injured or killed either by small arms fire or by stepping on a landmine, something like that. So it is kind of a tit for tat here. Both sides are blaming the other. There have been about a dozen people killed so far in this particular flare up. There were more than 20 killed in the last time when this happened back in July. But it looks like this is going to go on for some time now. So now, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? That's my question whenever I approach any of these things. You've heard me say that our first question when it comes to any crisis or conflict should be, which side has the moral high ground? You know, we want to look at things morally first before we look at them politically or economically or geopolitically. So the answer to that question in this case is kind of hard to discern. Like I said, they're fighting over ancient temples. And there was a case, this one goes all the way back to 1962, where Cambodia brought this border dispute before the International Court of Justice and asked them to rule on who actually owns this particular temple. The one that I showed you, here's a picture of it. And the ICC said that Cambodia owns that temple. However, they did not rule on all of the disputed territory around that temple, just the temple itself. And so that kind of set the stage for further conflict. They did that again in like 2011 or 2013, something like that, went back to the ICJ and had that reiterated again. So the International Court believes that this temple at least belongs to Cambodia, and it's right there on the border. Thailand really was okay to let that sit for the most part. They didn't have much of a problem with it, but there are some nationalist elements inside Thailand who are, and this gets into like Thai local politics, which obviously I'm not going to be an expert at, but just from the reading and research I've done, it looks like there's there are parties in the Thai government that are using this issue to get votes, and they're making it a bigger issue than it has been in the past. But from a moral standpoint, I just go like, it's an ancient temple. Why not just create a duty-free zone, you know, like just a free zone between the two countries that encompasses this temple, and say everybody can visit this temple, and the actual border is going to be on either side of this, Thailand over here and Cambodia over here. Why not just do something like that? Why do we have to go to killing people? I don't really understand, especially when we're not talking about Thailand wanting to take over Cambodia or Cambodia wanting to take over Thailand. We're just talking about ancient ruins and ancient sort of anger, you know, fostering this current crisis.